Jerry Jeudy and Myles Garrett aren't just supporting Shedeur Sanders. They're sending a message. Their public praise doesn't happen by accident, especially in a high-stakes quarterback room where words are watched and weighty. Judy's endorsement of Sanders' football IQ and Garrett's admiration for his leadership paint a picture of a backup quarterback who already acts and is being treated like a starter. The locker room is choosing sides, and it's increasingly clear they've made their pick. This isn't about hype. It's about a shift in values within the Browns organization.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Leadership is now being defined not by who takes the first snap, but by who's already earning trust behind the scenes. Sanders, through sheer consistency and dedication, has flipped the dynamic on its head. With even the team owner leaning into the players' sentiment, the foundation is being laid for a seismic quarterback switch, one that could reshape Cleveland's future sooner than anyone expected. Tony Grossi didn't just drop a bomb. He lit the match and walked away from the explosion with a microphone still in hand. When a veteran Browns insider goes on live television and calls Dillon Gabriel a loser, it's not some heat-of-the-moment slip. It's a signal, a sharp, deliberate message to everyone paying attention. The writing is on the wall, and Gabriel's hold on the starting quarterback job might already be crumbling. This isn't just a media flare-up. This is a slow-moving quarterback coup happening inside the Cleveland Browns facility, and it's being powered by locker room momentum, media scrutiny, fan pressure, and a not-so-quiet rise of one Shedeur Sanders. The shift isn't subtle anymore. It's loud, it's public, and it's picking up speed. Shedeur Sanders hasn't taken a meaningful snap in an NFL game, and yet he's already being talked about like he's the future of the franchise. Not by fans on message boards, not by analysts throwing darts, by the guys who matter. Guys like Jerry Jeudy and Myles Garrett, who aren't throwing around compliments for fun, are publicly praising Sanders for his work ethic, leadership, and understanding of the game. That doesn't just happen. That's a reflection of something real happening behind the scenes. When veteran players speak like that, they're not guessing. They're watching. They're observing the vibe in meetings, the energy during practice, the focus in the film room. And if those veterans are publicly putting their faith in Sanders, it means one thing. He's already earned the kind of internal respect that quarterbacks usually fight years to get. And this all makes Gabriel's current situation even more volatile. Because now he's not just battling opposing defenses. He's fighting a wave of internal doubt that grows louder every week. Every throw, every press conference, every snap is being evaluated through a harsher lens. If he falters, even for a moment, the calls for Sanders' takeover won't just come from the fan base. They'll come from inside the building. Kevin Stefanski isn't helping him either. The Browns' head coach has been vague, strategically vague. He won't commit to Gabriel long-term. He won't definitively shut down questions about Sanders moving up the depth chart. That ambiguity? It's telling. When a coach has full confidence in his starter, he says it clearly. He backs him publicly. Stefanski isn't doing that. He's leaving the door open. And that's enough to feed the narrative. The message being broadcast, intentionally or not, is that Shedeur Sanders is waiting in the wings, and the team is preparing for the transition. Sanders isn't just sitting back either. He's showing up in the coach's office, studying film, drawing plays, and demonstrating the level of professionalism that doesn't typically come from backups. This isn't someone who's just getting reps for development. This is someone preparing to take over. You don't earn the trust of players like Myles Garrett and Jerry Jeudy just by being talented. You earn it by working like the job is already yours. And that's exactly what Sanders is doing. What's more damning for Gabriel is that the locker room clearly sees it too. That's what makes this different from your average QB competition. Gabriel isn't losing because he's playing terribly. He's losing the room. He's losing the benefit of the doubt. And that is way harder to recover from than a bad game. Even if Gabriel plays decently in the next game or two, there's no guarantee he keeps his job. Why? Because the pressure has reached a point where good enough isn't enough anymore. With Sanders doing everything right off the field and key players pushing his name into the spotlight, Gabriel needs to be flawless just to keep pace. And with Pittsburgh on the schedule, that's a dangerous gamble. The Steelers' defense isn't the kind you want to face when your job is on the line. If Gabriel struggles even a little, if he hesitates, if he throws a bad pick, if he can't get the offense moving, the chant for Sanders are going to get deafening. Literally, chants from the stands, from the sidelines, from inside the locker room. This is how quarterback changes happen in the NFL. Not always because of stats, not always because of injuries, but because of momentum. And right now, all of it is on Sanders' side. And let's talk about the environment he's walking into. There's no clearer sign of a culture shift than this. The Browns, a team long criticized for cycling through quarterbacks and clinging to failed projects, are finally showing signs of prioritizing the right things. Leadership, preparation, mental toughness. And the guy representing all of that right now is not the one starting. Gabriel was supposed to be the franchise quarterback. That was the plan. But football isn't about plans. It's about results. And the result of this internal storm is a team that seems to be coalescing around someone new, someone younger, someone hungrier. There's also the ownership factor. Jimmy Haslam is watching this unfold just like everyone else. And Haslam has never been known for patience. If he senses a locker room is drifting towards Sanders, and all signs say it is, he's not going to sit back and wait. He's going to push for the change. He's going to ask the questions. And in Cleveland, when the owner starts asking those questions, moves usually follow. That's what makes the next few games so critical. Gabriel isn't just trying to win on Sundays. He's trying to keep his job Monday through Saturday. Because if Sanders keeps stacking good practices, earning praise from veterans, and quietly building this momentum, the call is going to come. And when it does, it's going to feel like it was inevitable. Gabriel's future hinges on razor-thin margins. A single misstep could trigger the full avalanche. A missed throw, a stalled drive, a loss to a division rival. It's all it will take to push the Browns into the next phase, the Sanders phase. And when that moment comes, there won't be a lot of sympathy left for Gabriel. That's the nature of this business. Once the locker room moves on, it's hard to get them back. You can't lead guys who've already stopped following you. Sanders hasn't played it down in a meaningful NFL game yet, but he's already been accepted as a leader. That's not hype. That's not marketing. That's reality. That's the product of relentless preparation and quiet confidence. That's the kind of energy that transforms locker rooms. The Browns are at a crossroads. The decision to stick with Gabriel or switch to Sanders isn't just about this season. It's about what kind of team they want to be. Do they want to protect a shaky starter and hope for the best? Or do they want to reward the guy who's earned the room, who's outworking everyone, and who represents the type of leadership teams chase for decades? Every signal, from the media to the players to the front office, points to the same answer. So now it's a matter of timing. Will Gabriel survive another game? 2, is there anything he can do to change this course? Or are we just waiting for the inevitable post-game press conference where Stefanski confirms what everyone already suspects? The Browns are changing, and the quarterback position is changing with it. Whether that change becomes official this week or next, the outcome feels decided. The team is shifting toward Shedeur Sanders. The fans are ready for it. The locker room is already there. And Dillon Gabriel? Unless he delivers something spectacular. And soon, he's going to become another forgotten name in a franchise with way too many of them. So what do you think? Has Shedeur Sanders already earned the starting job before even taking the field? Is Gabriel just keeping the seat warm? Or does he have a real shot at turning this around? Let us know in the comments. And hit that subscribe button if you're here for the quarterback chaos, the locker room whispers, and all the behind-the-scenes power plays as they unfold. Because in Cleveland right now, the real drama isn't happening on Sunday. It's happening every day before kickoff. And this story? It's just getting started. There's something surreal about watching a quarterback controversy brew in real time, especially when it's this public, this personal, and this pointed. Tony Grossi calling Dillon Gabriel a loser wasn't just a hot take. It was a declaration. The moment those words hit the airwaves, you could feel the collective shift. The gloves were off. The nice guy treatment? Gone. Grossi didn't just question Gabriel's play. He questioned his entire identity as a quarterback. That's the kind of hit you don't walk back from. And when it comes from someone as embedded in the Browns organization as Grossi, it doesn't land as an opinion. It lands as a warning shot from inside the walls. And now, everyone's watching Gabriel like he's already halfway out the door. Let's be real, this is the exact kind of environment where careers fall apart. Gabriel isn't just facing scrutiny. He's living under a microscope, with every pass, every misstep, every sideline glance dissected and weaponized against him. There's no breathing room, no benefit of the doubt. Not when the fans are chanting for Shedeur Sanders before the game even starts. You can feel the energy around Sanders. It's different, not loud, not performative, just solid, quietly intense. Guys respect him, coaches trust him, and teammates are already speaking about him like he's part of the leadership core. That doesn't happen unless you're doing everything right behind the scenes. And by all accounts, that's exactly what Sanders is doing. He's first in the facility, last to leave. He's in the coaches' offices, not because he has to be, but because he wants to be. He's learning the system like he plans to run it tomorrow, and depending on how Gabriel performs against Pittsburgh, he might actually be running it tomorrow. Gabriel's problem isn't just Sanders, it's timing. He's underperforming in the exact moment that Sanders is surging. Not on the field, but where it matters most right now, in the locker room, in the trust of his teammates, in the whispers of team leaders who know what a real QB1 looks like. And right now, more and more people are saying it's not Dylan Gabriel. The coaching staff hasn't made anything official. Kevin Stefanski is still playing it cool in front of the cameras. But let's not pretend this indecision is a good thing. When your head coach can't commit to his quarterback, it's usually because the commitment already cracked behind closed doors. And that's the thing with NFL politics. By the time it reaches a press conference, the decision's already been made. The fans see it. The players feel it. And the owner? Jimmy Haslam's not exactly famous for sitting on the sidelines when his team starts crumbling. If he thinks Shedeur Sanders gives the Browns their best shot at a spark, and all the evidence suggests he does, he's not going to wait around. He'll apply pressure from the top down. And if the Steelers' game goes south for Gabriel, that pressure might become impossible to ignore. What's worse for Gabriel is that it won't take a blowout to turn the tide. It could be one mistake, one ugly interception, one red zone meltdown, one possession that ends in boos instead of points. That's all it takes to open the door for Sanders. And once it opens, it's not closing. There's no margin for error, no patience left to burn. Not when the guy behind you is a Sanders. Yes, the son of Dion. But more importantly, a quarterback who's been grinding like the job is already his. And maybe it already is. Maybe Sanders has already won over the people who matter most. Maybe the players around him have already made up their minds. When Judy and Garrett speak, it's not just PR. It's a reflection of where the locker room is leaning. And right now, that's away from Gabriel. And let's talk about that culture shift, because this isn't just a quarterback swap. It's symbolic. The Browns have been clinging to the hope that raw talent or draft position alone will fix decades of instability. But now, there's a growing belief that things like preparation, leadership, and earning it matter more. And who embodies that better right now than Shedeur Sanders? He's not getting hyped because of flash. He's not pushing a media narrative. He's doing the work. He's stacking days. He's checking every box without needing a headline for it. That's what locker rooms respect. That's what veterans rally around. So when you see guys like Garrett, a face of the franchise defender, praising a rookie backup for his leadership, that's not just about character. That's code. That's saying, we know who the real QB1 is. We're just waiting for the coaches to catch up. And again, this isn't a case of Gabriel being terrible. He's not throwing 5 picks a game. He's not completely falling apart. But that's not the point. He doesn't have to be terrible to lose this job. He just has to be not enough. Not commanding enough. Not confident enough. Not convincing enough to silence the chants. Because make no mistake, the chants are coming. If the Browns start slow against Pittsburgh, if Gabriel throws a pick or two, the crowd won't be silent. They've seen enough to want change. And when fans want to back up more, then they want the starter to succeed. The clock starts ticking louder, and Gabriel can hear it. That's the psychological warfare of quarterback controversies, especially when your replacement already has the approval of the locker room and the loyalty of the crowd. Every throw becomes a test. Every drive becomes a referendum. Every mistake feels like your last. Meanwhile, Sanders can wait in silence. He doesn't need to politic. He doesn't need to push. His reputation is growing with every snap he doesn't take because the belief is there. And belief, especially in an NFL locker room, is everything. When teammates believe in you before you've even played a real game, that's a rare kind of power. And Sanders has it. Gabriel? He's stuck playing catch-up in a race he didn't know had started, and now it might be too late. Because the shift we're seeing in Cleveland isn't just a moment, it's a movement. One that favors the grinder over the placeholder, the leader over the default, the prepared over the anointed. And as this movement gains traction, from the locker room to media to the fans, Gabriel's position becomes more fragile by the day. So here's the bottom line. The Browns are staring down a massive decision, but the direction seems obvious. Sanders isn't just waiting for a shot. He's earned it. The team knows it. The coaches know it. And Gabriel? He's feeling it every time someone like Tony Grossi decides to go scorched earth in front of a camera. This isn't just a QB controversy. It's a full-blown power shift. And unless Gabriel delivers a flawless, confidence-restoring performance immediately, his seat will be cold by the time the final whistle blows next Sunday. What's wild about all this is how fast things have spiraled. Just a few weeks ago, Dylan Gabriel was being talked about as a guy. Maybe not the long-term solution, but the one under center for foreseeable future. Now, he's being openly called a loser on live television, while his backup, who hasn't taken a meaningful NFL snap, is quietly becoming the most powerful figure in the building. That doesn't happen unless people inside the organization are already moving on. It's not like Gabriel walked in and fumbled the whole franchise on day one. He didn't completely implode. But in the NFL, perception can be just as dangerous as production. And right now, the perception is that Gabriel isn't him. He's not leading the huddle. He's not commanding the offense. He's not giving the team the energy it needs to believe they can win games, let alone compete in the AFC North. That's the real problem. Not interceptions. Not bad reads. Lack of belief. And once a team stops believing in their quarterback, it's over. The playbook gets tighter. The body language shifts. Guys stop selling out for 50-50 balls. The defense starts to check out. The whole structure wobbles. And the Browns have lived this movie too many times to pretend they don't know how it ends. The difference this time is that they actually have a backup who looks ready. Shedeur Sanders isn't being hyped up by fans because of his last name. He's not being pushed by the media because of his college highlights. He's being respected by the team, respected by veterans, because of how he carries himself behind the scenes. That's not something you fake. That's not something you PR your way into. You earn it, and he's earned it, apparently, without needing a single regular season snap to prove it. Jerry Jeudy, a guy who's played with elite quarterbacks and knows what a real leader looks like, is out here publicly talking about Sanders' work ethic and leadership. Myles Garrett, the defensive heart of this team, is echoing that sentiment. This isn't fluff. This is substance. This is a locker room telling you, we know who the future is, and he's already among us. The tension is so thick now that you can feel it bleeding into every part of the team. Press conferences have gotten weird. Coach Stefanski won't give direct answers. His tone has changed. You can tell he's walking the line. Try and keep the current QB upright, while knowing that the locker room's already leaning toward the next man up. And how about those fan chants? You know the moment Gabriel makes a mistake, it's going to happen. First a murmur, then a ripple, then an entire stadium chanting for Shedeur. Because Browns fans aren't dumb. They know when the starter doesn't have the juice. They've seen more quarterback turnover than any fan base in modern NFL history. And they can feel when something new is brewing, something better. That's the danger for Gabriel. Not that he'll have a bad game, but that he'll have an average one. That he'll dink and dunk his way through another 17-point performance while the crowd wonders what Sanders could have done with the same opportunities. That he'll go 3 and out a few too many times, and the boos start rolling in. Not because he's terrible, but because the fans know there's someone else waiting. That kind of pressure doesn't just live in your head. It changes how you play. You start second-guessing. You check it down instead of taking the shot. You hesitate. And in the NFL, hesitation is death. And yet, through all of this, Sanders stays quiet. That's what's so telling. No tweets. No ego. No leaks. Just work. He's putting in the hours like he's already starting next Sunday. He's preparing like it's not a matter of if, but when. And based on everything coming out of Cleveland, he's not the only one who sees it that way. There's a reason the team hasn't shut the door on a change. There's a reason the coaching staff keeps using phrases like week to week and we'll evaluate everything. That's not normal language when you've got a starter locked in. That's what you say when you're waiting for the switch to feel inevitable. And it's almost there. One more loss. One more lifeless drive. One more we didn't execute press conference. That's all it's going to take. And when it happens, the Browns can't play it slow. They'll have to rip the Band-Aid off and hand the keys to Shedeur. And when they do, the locker room won't revolt. They'll nod, because the groundwork's already been laid. The veterans have already given him their stamp. The team has already shifted emotionally to his leadership. This isn't going to be a QB controversy. It's going to be a transition. And if you're Dylan Gabriel, that's the most brutal way to lose a job. Not because you blew it, but because someone else walked in and quietly took it from you. So now, the question isn't whether the switch is coming. It's whether Gabriel can do anything to stop it. Can he put together a complete game against Pittsburgh? Can he silence the chants? Can he change the tone in the locker room by actually taking control of this offense and making it his? Or is it already too late? Because when the players start leaning away from you and the fans are chanting over you, and even the owner is rumored to be leaning toward a change, there's not a lot of wiggle room left. This is the NFL. And in the NFL, jobs change hands fast. All it takes is one moment, one throw, one hit, one sideline huddle where the team feels the difference between what is and what could be. So Browns fans, what's your move? Stick with Gabriel and hope he figures it out? Or turn to Shedeur Sanders and let the guy who's already won the locker room try to win the field? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let us know where you stand. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Because the quarterback saga in Cleveland is heating up, and we're not even close to the final chapter. You don't want to miss what happens next.